Hey, what's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel, Football Therapy, with me, your host, Jan. Oh, I've missed you, mate, and I hope you're doing well. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News. Ooh, the daily series here on this channel where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea, giving you my opinion for all whatever that's worth, but more importantly, asking for yours, mate, you, the viewer / sometimes listener. How do you feel about what's going on in the blue world of Chelsea? As you can see, we're here in the studio outside Stamford Bridge with the silhouette ghost people walking all over the gaff. Aubameyang looks like it's going to happen, or certainly that's the noises, that's the feeling, that's the sentiment around what's going on at the moment. Thomas Tuchel loves the player. He scored a whole bunch of goals under him at Dortmund. We'll talk about that a little bit, where he'll fit in. Of course, Wesley Hoedt is desperate to join Chelsea as well. Chelsea are looking to spend a serious amount of money. Like, they could end this transfer window having spent hundreds of millions of pounds. I want to talk about that. I also want to address the Harry Maguire headlines. Thank you for joining me. Please do drop a like on the video. That means a lot. I appreciate all your support. It's very kind. I've been doing this a long time now. Well, it feels like a long time. A few years. And, yeah, I do feel like it's important to every now and again just stop and be like, thank you, you know? I do appreciate my position, where I'm at, and you guys watching the videos. And I'm genuinely very grateful and thankful to you guys who are part of this footballing Chelsea community. And, of course, not just Chelsea fans. Everyone's welcome to watch. So in that case, if you are interested in doing so, make sure you subscribe. And should you choose to do so, hit the sweet, sweet bell, baby. Alright then, should we talk about Harry Maguire before we address the Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, of course. What was it? Yesterday, the Sun or the Star, some sort of tabloid rag, reporting that Chelsea are considering looking at Harry Maguire. Naturally, the memes across social media exploded. United fans rejoiced, Chelsea fans shivered. Look, man, he is a meme. He's done Chelsea Day with the Azpilicueta headlock. It's not been pleasant. I do have a little bit of sympathy for Harry Maguire. These players, these people that become like figures of fun and just like memes themselves, they are still people, of course. And lest we forget, you have to go back a long time, ladies and gentlemen, back deep into your memory banks. Harry Maguire was a really impressive Premier League player that eventually cost £80 million, which, of course, now seems like a joke. But he, at Hull, when he was playing for Hull, I said to my friend who's a United fan, he'll become an England international. And he laughed at me. And then he went to Leicester, he became an England international. And then the funny thing is he actually joined Manchester United. So when I spoke to my friend about it, it was just a funny sort of character arc. But then he became this meme and a poor performer. I think also he's been subject to a poor goalkeeper behind him a lot of the time, and De Gea, great shot stopper, but poor at a lot of things and in poor form, and of course, no midfield in front of him. I am not defending Harry Maguire. I do not want him to Chelsea. Heck, as an England fan, I don't want him starting for England right now, even though he hasn't done that much wrong in an England shirt. Do you know what I mean? I'm just not overly that interested in him. If you said, Jan, who should start for England, my Chelsea bias will wiggle in. I'll go, start, Fikayo Tomori and Mark Gurley, or maybe not Gurley straight away, but, Tomori and John Stones. I actually quite like John Stones. Do you know what I mean? So, whatever. Chelsea apparently have inquired about him. And I'll tell you why. Because Harry Maguire is a good penalty box defender when he's, in confidence, and you stick him in a back three with a Thomas Tuchel 6-6 in front of him, two, relatively defensive midfielders, and he probably looks good again, wins loads of aerial duels or whatever. I'm not saying I want him. I'm saying that's probably why Chelsea have looked at him. We've got good defenders. We're going to hopefully get Fofana. Let's pour cold water all over this Harry Maguire story. Fabrizio Romano is reporting that Wesley Hoedt is desperate to join Chelsea. Brendan Rodgers is leaving him out of this weekend's game. Or we understand that Leicester manager Brendan Rodgers is leaving Wesley Hoedt out of this game because it's just, which means it's go time. Fofana wants this move to happen. He's desperate. He actually said to Brendan, can you leave me out? my head won't be in it. And you have to leave him out. He might have behind the scenes done a transfer request that we don't know about. That could have already happened. Speculating here, I'm not saying or reporting it's happened. It may well have done. And he's at the point now where he's like, I don't want to play. And then if you're a gaffer, if you're a manager like Brendan Rodgers, you can't stick him in because you need to win. You need to win Premier League games, the highest competition in the world. You can't have a kid who's had his head so profoundly turned, who, you might not like that behaviour as a football fan or a professional, but it was to his understanding that if a deal came in for him, even if it was next summer of a high amount, that he'd go, we're talking near world record amounts of money. He'll feel like that is beyond fair. This is my dream move. They're in for me now. They might not be in for me next summer. They might go somewhere else. You have to sell me. Plus, he's a youngster. He's 21. The ambition, the starry eyes. I don't think he's being like, I could swear, like a brat or something. Do you know what I mean? I think it's probably understandable given the context, etc. of the situation. But he wants to go. Brendan Rodgers is keeping him out of the starting lineup. Fabrizio Romano is reiterating that how he's desperate to move. I do genuinely think in the remaining 10 days of the transfer window, Chelsea will complete this signing. I'm not fully nailing my colours to the mast, but I think it will happen. And this will take Chelsea's transfer spend, into the hundreds of millions if indeed they, sign Aubameyang, and they could sign someone else still as well. There's a big potential at Chelsea spend a lot of P's. Now let's move on, and I want to talk about Aubameyang because this is more and more interesting. So I'm going to, again, Fabrizio Romano tweeting this, Xavi's comments on Aubameyang to Chelsea. He said, we don't know what will happen. Right now, he is our player. He's important, but the circumstances will tell. He basically treading carefully. Now, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, I went on oddschecker.com. His transfer odds, he's favourite to go to Chelsea at 1-3, and then to stay at Barca, he's 5-2, which is second favourite. Basically, that's kind of like saying there's a 66% chance he's going to Chelsea, something like that. It's like a really high chance he's going to go to Chelsea. I want to quickly read this article by David Ornstein on The Athletic to give you context on the situation. Chelsea have submitted a proposal to sign striker Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang from Barcelona, The Athletic understands. The Premier League side are believed to have offered £15 million in a deal that will see left-back Marcus Alonso head the opposite way. Now, so that's £15 million plus Marcus Alonso part exchange. How much is Marcus Alonso worth? Don't know. £12 million, £10 million, which would be selling the total value of, let's estimate here, £25 million. We could sort of guesstimate. £25 million, that's over 30 million euros, I believe. I think, still. That's the odds that they quoted him for, but they want straight cash, I believe. It is thought Barcelona have yet to respond to this approach as they consider whether to part with a player who only joined in January from Arsenal. Personal terms between Chelsea and the 33-year-old Gabon international are not likely to be an issue should the clubs reach an agreement. So there's already been intermediary talks and speculation that personal terms for Aubameyang would be agreed for Chelsea. Like Ornstein saying, it's just getting it done. Barcelona coach Xavi wants to keep Aubameyang though. He wants to keep him at the Camp Nou, but his employers could allow a departure to help ease their financial problems. Yeah, something that I've spoken about here on the channel before. I think I heard on the Athletic podcast or possibly like the Football Daily or something that he's in the second season, and this season his contract is set to become a much higher paid contract. Now, bearing in mind that they've just signed Lewandowski for a big transfer fee and he will be on big wages as well, Aubameyang is going to be a second striker at his age on huge wages when they can A, make a transfer fee for him, and B, absolve themselves of said wages and then register Koundé. And they get Alonso. They want Alonso. So that's interesting. Xavi's counterpart at Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel, is determined to reunite with the forward he managed at Borussia Dortmund. And the Stamford Bridge team are in need of a focal point of their attack. God, I'm having PTSD. You need a focal point. Chelsea need a focal point. How many times over the years have we said that and then bought all the strikers we've bought? While Aubameyang is known to be happy at Barcelona, if an exit does materialise, then Chelsea are thought to be his first choice destination. Back in London, southwest London. He probably liked it in London, and Premier League, knows he'll start for Chelsea. I mean, I guess he'll start. Yeah, starting with Sterling on the left. The Premier League's funny, isn't it? Like, Mason Mount, Raheem Sterling, Aubameyang at Chelsea. It's the story arcs are incredible. Like, the multiverse of Premier League football, or indeed European football, when, you know, you'd imagine never seeing these players. It's just the transfer window is crazy. It's really interesting. The new ownership in West London have already invested heavily in their first transfer window. And of course, they're pursuing Everton for Anthony Gordon. It's speculated that £50 million could see Chelsea sign Anthony Gordon and Leicester City's Fofana, of course. Alonso has been courted throughout the summer, and the part exchange involving the 31-year-old Spain international is being suggested by Chelsea in an attempt to satisfy all parties. So, yeah, you know, Barcelona have to agree to it. I think they preference straight cash because of their financial situation. But I do genuinely think, like Fofana, I think this deal will get done. I'm just going to quickly read you a quote from Thomas Tuchel speaking last month, was it? Or earlier the month, speaking about Aubameyang. You know, when we were being linked to him, they were like, Tuchel, do you want to sign Aubameyang? Now, of course, he's not going to be like, yes, I love him, I want him. But he did go out of his way to praise him in this conversation. So, you know, he didn't completely separate himself. Tuchel said this. This is totally separate from anything that's happening now. So he offers a disclaimer in terms of, you know, this isn't relating to a transfer, but I enjoyed working a lot with Abba while I was at Dortmund. Some players stay your players because you were very, very close. And Abba is one of those players. There was always, straight away, this close bond. They always stay your players in a way. He goes on to talk about how at Dortmund it was never an issue, his behavioural stuff, of course, because the press was referencing his troubles at Arsenal under Mikel Arteta. Make no bones about it, ladies and gentlemen, Thomas Tuchel is desperate to sign Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and indeed Wesley Fofana. And possibly Anthony Gordon, but we need to get players out the door. We need to get, you know, Timo Werner and, of course, Lukaku have gone. But it does seem like Hakim Ziyech could be next. There's talk about if they sell Antony to Manchester United for €100 million, by the way. I saw on Twitter that he's yet to outscore 18-year-old Mason Mount at Vitesse, who played in the midfield. And he's a winger playing for Ajax. Bang! You know, Hakim Ziyech we got for £35 million, or just less. He was like Ajax player of the season for like 3 or 4 years in a row, and incredible. So if they do sell Antony to Man United for ridiculous money, they're looking to bring back Hakim Ziyech, probably on a loan with an option to buy. And, you know, he'll probably be very good. And the reports are suggesting that Ziyech is happy to go back. He'll be frustrated with his time at Chelsea, like Timo Werner, but he'll be happy that he comes back with a Champions League medal, like Timo Werner. Do you know what I mean? It will be that kind of situation. And something that we've reiterated here on the channel before, now it's all about Thomas Tuchel getting these profile of players that he wants. And I want to re-emphasize the fact how, yes, he signed Lukaku, but he was offered Lukaku and he was like, all right, yeah, sure, if you want to, I want a striker, like that. But now he's gone out of his way to, meticulously target Raheem Sterling as the number one priority. As he said, he got him. That's his attacking signing. Aubameyang, we've just read about how, him waxing lyrical about his former player that he loves. If he gets him, that's absolutely his target, his signing. And similarly, we can speculate about Anthony Gordon. Big clubs are looking at him, and yes, it's a little bit left field, and many of us accept they'll be overpaying, but clubs are suggesting that Anthony Gordon will go for a lot more than 50 million and not too long in the future, and Chelsea want to be that kind of club that gets him first. Like City and other people have looked at him, not willing to pay 50 million for him right now, but Chelsea will pay over the odds to get these players in. Your Wesley Fofanas, your Anthony Gordons, for the first transfer window to throw their weight around and make serious spending. So, what do you think? I've covered a lot of the big stories at the moment, and I continue to do so over the transfer window. So I really want your opinion. Let's start up the conversation down in the comments section. I'll be down there reading. Thank you for everyone that's liked the video. It means a lot. I thank you again for just supporting the content generally. You're welcome to subscribe. Should you choose to do so, hit the sweet bell. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to seeing you very soon. Keep it locked to Football Therapy. Peace.